territory born person with a family that has a long history in Darwin, dating back to my great-grandfather sort of settled, was one of the initial settlers in Darwin. But anyway, I was born there and I grew up there. And then I moved to Australia when I was 15 and I did my Bachelor of Visual Art at the National Arts School in Sydney and then lived in Canberra for a few years after that, up until last year when I decided to revisit poetry by doing a residency in Alice Springs for 6 months. So, this work's kind of a continuation of what I was doing there and what I was thinking about while I was there. This morning when I was considering what to say about this, I kind of rarely make a work that's this personal, and I kind of think of it as a bit naive and childlike. It's sort of, because although I visited Alice for the first time, Darwin's my home, and while I was in Alice Springs I was making this work that was about spiritual evolution and how we change as people as we grow, and for me that's really heavily influenced by the landscape and like experience of nature and things like that. Anyway, so this one, seeing sort of said, do you want to be part of this territory time show? Yeah, because like, although I sort of had this idea that I was revisiting a very special place in Darwin, I've never really considered making an artwork about how I feel about my home. And anyway, I guess why I think this is in some ways naive work is because I'm kind of searching into like my childhood, and I grew up near Casuarina Beach and spent a lot of my childhood playing there, and my dad moved us back and forth between here and the Kimberleys doing research into Indigenous languages, and sort of got all these Dreamtime stories, and so I feel like my relationship with the landscape was like one of inventing my kind of own mythology based on these Dreamtime stories that always involved animals and places and trees and things, but because that's kind of this secret, sacred sort of Indigenous culture that we're separated from, because there's a processes to learn sort of certain levels of it. I just sort of take the ideas of like birds and trees and places being inhabited by spirits and kind of run with it. And so when I thought about doing territory time, I thought I'm going to think about that. I'm going to think about Casuarina Beach and think about my own spiritual connection kind of with that. I called it This is the Sad Place for a few reasons. A personal feeling that we took something away from Indigenous people when we came and settled here, including my great-grandfather, who would have probably not thought about it the way we think about it now anyway, so I'm kind of aware that he was one of the first people that kind of, really take land away. But the other reason was because I'd experienced a little personal tragedy in the Northern Territory, and I kind of had this feeling that it was a bit of a dangerous place and stuff like that, so I thought there was a bit of sadness in the long history of my personal history. And it also just had this memory of when I was in Alice, just going on a walk or something, and you get these hints about the spiritual significance of the places that you're in to Indigenous people, and one of them is just like on a tourist sign, and it says something like this is a male place and it's bad luck for you to be here. You know, it's not a female place, and you just think, oh, whoops, here I am. But, you know, and I've heard stories about that about Darwin. Like there's, you know, burial grounds in town and things like that. So yeah. So it's like a ghost. This is where it's like a child's work. It's like a ghost living in the landscape and conjuring up the forms that are like the spirits do. Yeah. And it's something I've always done in Darwin. There's these automatic drawings that are just influenced by walking in the landscape and noticing the shapes of the leaves and, you know, the sun going down, and Casuarina Beach again with the, you know, the constantly changing landscape and the little crab balls and, you know, all those kinds of forms. So this is similar. Yeah, I talked about how it's changed colour. Anyway, this is an assemblage of natural found objects from Darwin. It's this weird smelly fruit from which I forget the name of, from the Botanic Gardens.
Calabash?
Yes, calabash, that's right. It's a calabash with a coral and a palm flower. Yeah. And the sand is a mixture with beach and Alice Springs sand. Love the red sand, but I've just run out. It's the last little trace of it, and it does this weird thing that I can't explain. With the head, the ghost, these feathers come from the low peaks in Alice Springs that are just so beautiful. Anyway, and they're very luminous on the right angles. And these feathers are from a kite that lives around on Dickboard Drive in the mangroves. And I just had this funny day where I was making this work, and I was like, well, I want to have my ghost to have a headdress or something, and I need more feathers, and I was looking for them in Darwin because most of my feathers have come from Alice, and I just went on this mad walk down Dickboard Drive all the way to Perak, and it was a great walk. I found $20 and I found all these feathers. So I just never seen so many beautiful, really good quality feathers in one spot. And then at the end of my walk I found a beautiful antique chair and a drain. So it was like, oh. Anyway, so that's the story of those. And then, yeah, these are these automatic drawings influenced by the landscape. And the coastline in Darwin. Yeah. Now that's it.
I got a question. And you said this head is a ghost. And then your title is that this is sad space, but it seems the ghost is really happy.
Yeah,
it's a smiling.
It's got some people think it has almost no expression at all. I tried to get this really strange, ambivalent, human but not human kind of look going on, like that we can kind of relate to, but in a way it's sort of quite abstract, and so it's just a bit different. And I you know, if you think about like a lot of the Northeast Arnhem Land kind of spirit drawings, they look a bit like people, but they're kind of a bit weird and wonderful as well, and humorous. A lot of funny facial expressions and things like that. So I guess I was thinking a bit about that as well. So,
Any more questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. Why did you choose the mirror?
I wanted something to represent water, and also I just I've used mirrors in this way before, where it sort of opens up the space underneath the work, and you get a mirror image, which is like quite beautiful. It kind of like another dimension. It doesn't usually see.
And the reflection that it creates on the wall too, you know, so the shadow that's created is actually very, you know, looks very different from just the physical object itself. So I think it's transformed to do something quite.
It does transform, and it's transformed every time. I guess I've only put this one up twice, but I've done similar works where the same things happen, and it's sort of like the sand changing colour. There's things that you can't predict, and in every gallery with an ephemeral work there's going to be something about it that's a little bit different to the time before. Like, even if you do everything in exactly the same way, just the angles is like. And this one I was like, oh, that's a lovely, lovely, and it sort of looks like a planetary kind of land formation.
Yeah, I just thought it was like an aerial map view of
the
island.
Yeah, it does. I agree, and it was just a surprising thing. And he said, "Oh, do you like the lights?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a good shadow." It's a very yeah. In this one, this is hung on concrete, but used in the times before, because we've done this show's travelled to Sydney and Perth and Alice, and then back to Darwin. Every other time I've hung these drawings. I've hung them with a distance between the sheet of plastic and the thing, so there's more shadows, but it's missing in this just because of how it had to be hung in this gallery.
There is an interesting connection between this and those, in the sense that the face hat is made up of those sort of geometric shapes. And I wondered if there was something sort of sacred for the geometry for you that you've further gone on.
Definitely, it's been a reoccurring theme in my art practice, is geometric. And I've been trying to sort of, because mostly I just do it automatically, and it's sort of this subconscious thing, and these shapes kind of reoccur, and they're mostly circles. And since I've been here for the last year, I've been wondering if it actually comes from watching so many sunsets and watching the circle kind of disappear and all the stages of the circle and the line and stuff like that. And you know, of course, geometry has this amazing historical significance, and a lot of the forms sort of remind you of like the macroscopic thing of the universe as well as microscopic things. Like, so I think, geometry's definitely a spirit, makes that spiritual connection kind of by itself. Yeah.
And what about the colours? I love the colours, but they're almost from another time as well.
Yeah, I'm very always been very influenced by abstraction at the turn of this last century now. And I can't get over it. But then sort of fused with like, you know, contemporary installation artists and stuff like that, particularly like Louise Weaver and Fiona Hall and people like that. And I can't remember how I think I made the head first, and then it was sort of like this thing of, and I want to have it in a landscape, and then the drawings were kind of going on while the head was being made, and so the colour they were in the same, the colour connections were there. But tricky because sort of a few years before that I not touched colour at all because I was afraid of it, and I kept stuffing it up, and so this is the first colour work I made in a really long time. So, and I wanted it, because it's about sort of the area around Kashmir, I wanted it to be very bright and tropical in its feel. Even though it's got bits of Alice Springs in there as well.